Meeting order, roll call, please.
Roll call is Steve Babbitt.
Here.
Sarah, Polly Moreau.
Here.
Sarah Singh. Here. Sue Carroll.
Here.
And Jimmy Gonzalez.
Okay, first order of business is approval of the minutes for December 11th, 2018.
Two separate motions?
Yeah.
The
Two separate?
Yeah.
I'll
separate meetings.
make a motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, all in favor, it's approved. Also, a motion for December 17th.
Again, I'll make that motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
second, all in favor, aye. Okay, Peter Marino, Lynn charges youth football and,
Peter's on his way here right now. I'm actually vice president of chapters.
okay, should we wait till he comes, or?
He told me he'd be here right as of 2 minutes ago, so
Okay, well,
I'm sorry.
that's all right, we'll put you at second.
Thank you.
Okay, Tracy Costa, Ransom Consulting for McManus Park EPA cleanup grant.
Yes, would you like me to stand? What would you-
Whatever you'd like to do, you can
Okay, so again, my name is Tracy Costa. I'm an LSP, a licensed site professional. I work for Ransom Consulting. We are currently the Qualified Environmental Professional, or the QEP, for EDIC Lynn. And we are working with EDIC Lynn on 2 EPA brownfields grants that were awarded in late 2017. One is a cleanup grant for 870 Western Avenue, a former gas station. The other is a $300,000 community-wide assessment grant. And what's great about that assessment grant, over the 3-year period, it allows the city to perform environmental assessment on properties where there might be suspect or known contamination. So EDIC had a chance to interface with DPW. DPW had indicated that some investigations had been performed at Neptune Boulevard Park, McManus Field, along that southwestern portion of the park back in, I believe, 2016. And they did some soil borings, groundwater monitoring wells, found some petroleum contamination. If you look at this historic Sanborn map from 1938, it does show a former filling station. So part of, once you find contamination in Massachusetts and you trigger reporting thresholds, that becomes a Mass DEP or an MCP disposal site. So there's an obligation for the city, for DPW, to continue to do additional assessment to delineate the extent of it and to do cleanup and then to close the site. So here was a great opportunity for EDIC to step in, do some additional assessment to sort of push this forward. So with that said, on December 20th, what we wanted to do, based on looking at some of the historic maps, we did see that there were 3 underground storage tanks and no records that they were ever removed. So we performed a geophysical survey on December 20th. Here's a copy of that report. Not only did we find 3 tanks, we found 6 underground storage tanks, and right along that area. So even though that sounds like not great news, there is a silver lining, because same time now this year is an opportune time to apply for EPA Brownfields Cleanup Grant, and those grant applications are due on January 31st. So in chatting with DPW, we recommend that the city apply for about $300,000 in petroleum cleanup funding. That should cover removal of these tanks. These tanks range in size from about 1,100 gallons to about 3,500 gallons. So the assumption would be that the tanks would be removed, soil would be removed, dewatering would be performed. We at Ransom Consulting would assist the city on a pro bono basis, acknowledging that if and when the city is awarded the funding, the city would now have to publicly bid for an LSP and a QEP, and then also for the cleanup. But again, even though it's never good news, it certainly is an opportune time to apply for that cleanup funding.
Were all of these tanks associated with this one gas station?
Seems like they probably.
That's a lot of tanks for a gas station, isn't it?
I know, it is. It's really weird.
Especially for so many years ago.
Yeah, so if you look in that report, they were pretty clustered together. So the 3 that are depicted here on the 1938 map, so if you go to the previous page here, you'll see that there was a building and then 3 tanks. So we've got actually 6 of them clustered. And there's some additional anomalies too. Yeah. So it's kind of an early Christmas gift. So again, it's a great opportunity to apply for the funding. And we've also conveyed if the city's not successful in being awarded this funding, maybe consideration of mass development cleanup funding.
So what you need from us is a motion to go ahead with this grant application?
That is correct. Let me also convey that what's also required for cleanup funding is a public notice that would need to be published hopefully by the end of this week in the Lynn Daily item, and also a public meeting next week. And during that public meeting, we would have what's called an ABCA, an analysis of brownfields cleanup alternatives. What that does, it describes really the cleanup method, which would be soil excavation, dewatering, removal of tanks, and then it allows the public to provide any feedback and input. And all that information goes into the grant application.
So is there evidence of these have leaked?
There is evidence of contamination in soil, not so much in groundwater, so.
So
this
has
appears to be the source.
abutters been notified?
No, that's not necessary at this point because the contamination appears to not have migrated off-site. It appears to be still within that property boundary of the park.
Sounds like it's going to be a pretty large job to clean those out.
What's the timeframe?
Okay,
If the grant goes through, when would this be able to start?
So if the grant is awarded, those announcements usually come out in May, June. As you know, there's been an EPA shutdown. We don't know if there'll be an extension of that. But they anticipate that they will make those announcements May, June. You'll know about the awards. You'll actually have the money in hand by the end of October.
And how long, oh, sorry.
It's a 3-year, so it's a 3-year duration.
How long did it take? 3 years?
No, so you have 3 years to spend the money.
But how long would it take to remove something like that?
It would really take weeks, but
Okay.
again, so again, we're overseeing something very similar at 870 Western Avenue, but that's a condition where the tanks were moved, but there's lingering contamination to soil and groundwater. So that's actually happening now, and it's really weeks, within 4 weeks usually.
Thank you.
Jimmy, you had a question? Or you had a question?
No, I already did.
Yeah. You said the public meeting has to be held. Who holds that meeting?
So the plan in chatting with DPW today, that we would hold that at City Hall on Tuesday at 6:00 p.m.
Okay.
And the public notice would be, it would be published by the end of this week.
Yeah. So would somebody want to make a motion to allow the city to move forward on a grant application for this cleanup of this site?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
You
I'll
make that
second
mo-
it.
Second, is there any further discussion or questions?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you for your
Thank you very much, Tracy.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming in. You all set now?
I did.
Okay, we'll go back to Peter Marino. How are you? Good. Lynn charges youth football and chair annual requests. What's, any questions of, let's see what's going on.
Just portable
Community
bathrooms.
park.
What's that?
They're gonna need portable bathrooms.
Any portable bathrooms?
Yep, insurance policy. You have the paperwork for 'em.
Okay, so Lisa said you're gonna need portable bathrooms, you're aware of that? Yep. And insurance policy? Is there any,
And hours are okay, 5 to 9?
Yes, yep. They've been there for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
We haven't had any
Yeah.
problems with them.
Okay.
They're on the Tracy Ave side. We split it down the middle by the fences.
Okay.
is there any lighting involved in this, or is this?
They have their towers right now they use for
Okay.
lighting.
Is there a motion on this to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Just make sure you guys clean up after practice, water bottles, everything's put in the trash.
What's that? No, I see him all the time. Okay, we're gonna skip down to number 10, Community Development, Mike Murray, John Milberger, how are you? What's going on? What do you want to tell us?
What would you like to know?
There's not enough time in the night.
Are we doing the bond projects?
Yeah, whatever,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep, discuss the bond projects.
Mike and I both have different copies of what the projects are. I don't know whether you have all received that, because
Thank you.
that's what I got, maybe early in December.
Yeah, I think I do have it. I think it's the same.
It probably is. but-
Yep, it is.
So, if you want to go through the ones that, in the parks, I can
Sure.
tell you what we are planning based on meeting with Jamie, who met with some of the councils.
Okay.
So Flax Pond Irrigation. The intent is to make sure that we irrigate the Carter Road side of Flax Pond. And if we have enough money, bring it around along Chestnut Street and even, back towards the, well, it's really a storage building now. There used to be irrigation there. We have an old plan that really isn't accurate. So we put a requisition out for Easy Landscaping to come in early spring, do some excavations to see if they can find anything that's still existing, running along the Chestnut Street and all. See, there is backflow and some of the equipment in the storage building. But we need to determine whether it's more cost savings or makes it worthwhile to come from the storage building or to actually put a tap, another tap in the street or whatever and come in at another location.
So we don't know where that came from before, where they got the water from before?
The water before came from the storage building.
Storage building.
That's where we have, we have, a backflow in there. But when we put the splash pad in, that required a large dry well, and so all the lines that came out of the building pretty much got torn up and never replaced. And since we have 27,000, that's a fair amount of money, but not, I don't know that we could do the whole thing. But Carter Road is the priority. Gowdy Park, that's, the council would adamantly would like to see the drainage improved along Tuscan Road, I think it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not an easy solution. We've looked at that over the years. There is one catch basin there that ties into the line, but the line is very high, so you'd have to bring in a tremendous amount of fill to boost the whole park up in that area to try to get it to drain into that basin, and then I'm not sure whether we'd be able to accommodate all the water that comes in that area. So we have a rep for Ralph Reed, who went out and took great shots all over that side of the park. The council asked that we not go any further until we looked at that. But now I think he wants to go further and have Ralph Reed and an engineer that works with him design the most cost-effective solution to try and either build that up, or if we have to put some mechanical means in there. But a few years ago, the cost for all the fill and grading that was required for there was estimated, I think, around $300,000. So we don't have the money to do that.
That really dips down there, you can
Yes.
see it. I mean, it's
It's a
a,
mess, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll do the design work now and see what he might come up with and how that fits in with what we've got, and then determine what we can or can't do, and go from there.
If you take the two ends of the park where the dip comes down, I mean, that's got to be 10, 15 feet below grade anyway.
Yes. Oh,
It's tremendous.
huge, yeah, yeah. So that's a little bit of an unknown. The Lynn Woods playground equipment, our understanding, the council wants to seal coat the basketball court. And we have a quote to do that work.
On which entrance?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's right. This is the Great Woods Road entrance.
Great Woods Road entrance.
And probably we would put new backboards, although the backboards that are there aren't that bad, but we'd see how that fits in. We'd have a little money left over, not really enough to buy a substantial piece of play equipment, but all of the pieces of play equipment, some of them are out of code. They really should be pulled out, and all of them need mulch, some in areas up to a foot thick to make the surface underneath safe. So those are the priorities, and if we have anything else left where we could put a small piece of play equipment, I met with a designer from O'Brien and Sons. Landscape Structures is the company that they put in other parks in Lynn, and they're supposed to be looking into how that might fit in the budget.
When you say the depth of mulch, is that for when falls happen off of the equipment?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, the other issue that's we are never going to comply with at that playground is handicap accessibility.
Yeah.
There's no way to be able to bring a wheelchair in under the grades that we have there where everything is. But Sheridan Street, I think, is on hold. I don't even know if that's a park.
I don't think it
it's
is.
just, an open space.
Yep.
We did have a little piece of play equipment, but it got destroyed. Keeney Park court repair. Once again, I'm not real sure where some of the numbers came from, but that 50,000 is not nearly enough to repair the courts at Keeney. So Mike is getting a quote from a couple of paving companies. It would be enough to do seal coating and some crack repair, but the surface is in such bad shape. It really needs to be taken up and a whole new surface put down. So we're looking in to get a total number. We have a quote for seal coating over new pavement, and we're going to get quotes to put down new pavement in the area. And we probably would get a quote for new backboards, maybe standards as well. But that's a little up in the air because we don't have the money. But I think that, I don't want to speak for my boss, but it is a park that we'd like to find a way to complete. Williams Avenue, playground equipment. If you're familiar with Williams Avenue at all, there's not much there right now. And the slide that's there is one of the oldest, I think. It's really,
1970s.
so some of the playground equipment there also doesn't meet code. What I think the counselor has asked for is he would like the existing paved area that used to be the basketball court removed. And we've been talking with DPW as to whether or not they could come in and do that work, certainly to save.
Who's the council for there? Is that 2?
See ya.
No, it's 3. Okay.
And then we would put some new equipment in the area where the pavement is now with surfacing. If we can afford a rubber surfacing, that's the best thing to use, but it's very expensive. So we would have to see, but we'd put the new play equipment apart from the old play equipment. We'd probably fix up a couple of the benches that you can be fixed with new slats, and then there's 2 or 3 benches that need to be pulled out, and the old equipment really should get pulled out. But we tried that as much as we could out of the 45,000 in new play equipment. Goldfish Pond, it's not, you know better than I might.
10,000 of that's been spent on 2 aerators. They're on order now. So that leaves 35,000 for masonry repairs around the outer wall.
When will the aerators be installed?
I'm in the spring.
Have they resolved the electrical problem they had there?
No. No, we had an electrician go out there and the lines that are in there now are blocked, so we can't use those. So they have to drain the pond, put in some new PVC to run to these aerators. But as you know, the water quality there was
Terrible.
last summer. So there was a meeting at City Hall last fall, and they decided to purchase 2 of those aerators to see if that would help. It has been treated with chemicals last year, and it's in this year's budget, Lisa, for treatment again.
Yes.
So I guess there'd be $35,000 left from masonry repairs if they decide that's what they want to do.
Okay.
Okay, Kylie is, as far as I was told, an electrical issue with, whether it's with the clubhouse or some of the lighting in the park. But Inspectional Services, I believe, is going to handle that. And then Fry Park, the same thing, lighting. And so Inspectional Services will be responsible for that as well. Warren Street, again, we have, it's a nice budget, but boy, there are a lot of needs there. The counselor wants to improve the basketball courts, and we have a quote to do some pretty large crack sealing and then seal coat the whole courts, and we'd put new backboards on the existing standards. With the money that's left after doing that, we're trying to decide whether to try to fix up some of the play equipment that's there, or take it out and put something new that might be something the kids would enjoy more. What's there is pretty beat up, but we haven't really haven't got the details on that yet. But as soon as we do, I can get information over to Lisa and pass it around to you guys.
Okay.
Bennett Street Playground is, in a way, it's a lot like Williams Ave. The council would like the basketball court pavement removed. And again, the equipment isn't as old at Bennett Street as it is at Williams, but it needs some repair, and some of it isn't fully compliant. We'd like to take and put a new play structure in where the basketball court was, with the appropriate surfacing underneath, and if we have some money left over, we would probably, put into the existing equipment. Each of these parks has swings. They're old, but they're functional, so we like to keep using them, but none of them have the handicap seat that is really required at any park site. So all of these, we would be putting in a new handicap seat in where the swings are. And again, we're hoping that DPW can remove the pavement. Marion Street was done, I guess. I don't know that that's on the court either. High Rock, that's a little bit up in the air. We still have some issues with security that we were looking into ways to try to provide better monitoring, but we haven't really moved too far on that. That's still a little bit open. Angel Island, that's another tough one. I know that Mike has talked to some people, and to get into trying to restore that old concrete fountain is very expensive.
That's Washington Square, right?
Yes. Yep.
It's across from the Central
Even
Congregational
though
Church.
$50,000 seems like a lot of money when you get into trying to restore old materials and all, it doesn't go very far. So we're still looking at that, trying to figure out what should or shouldn't be done. Let's see. Seaport you don't care about.
No.
Fraser Field, again, I think that's going through inspection services.
Yeah, that's the Stadium Commission.
Yes. Yep. And let's see, I guess that's all of this.
Okay. What's your partner riding shotgun got to say? Anything? Or you just come on for support?
Yeah, no, he's gonna do the whole thing.
He was?
You know, Lisa got me out of another meeting so I could come here.
Oh. So do you need anything from us, or?
Just approval.
Yeah, just approval, and I know sometimes the communication isn't the greatest
Yeah.
between, different
Yeah.
committees. So we want to make sure that that's why I brought this along, just to make sure
Yep.
that you knew what we were given.
Yeah, when you finally determine what's going to be done, if somebody could just drop us a note just to give us an update
Do
on,
a summary with each one.
Yeah.
Because I have to do that
Yeah.
gloss anyway, so.
that'd be great, just to keep us in the loop in case, somebody asks us a question. So you want a motion just to proceed with the projects as outlined?
Yes.
That sounds good? Okay, everybody's heard the conversation. Somebody want to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, man.
Okay. Fiesta Shows, annual carnival request, use of Keeney Park from Monday, June 17th to the June 23rd. There anybody here from that, Lisa, or is
No,
that?
that's an annual for the fireworks.
Yeah, so when we approve that, then it has to go to the city council, correct?
That's correct. It's
Okay, is there a motion to that effect?
Make a motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Felix Martinez, Los Patriots softball. Annual request to use Keeney Park for Mondays and Wednesdays. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Terrific. Happy New Year to you, too.
Yeah, this is our 5th years, request for the park, and we're gonna do the same thing this year. So we got the tournament coming up for the summer, and these are the dates.
Okay. Lisa, you have any concerns about this? Are you all set?
no,
You're all
no
set?
issues. Just the bathroom, and he needs to fill out all his paperwork,
Yeah.
and...
No lights and anything out there? or-
Lights, we're good for right now on the lights.
Okay.
When it comes to that point, when he needs the lights in August, then we'll bring that to the table.
Okay.
Just paperwork, insurance. We're requesting our leagues now for insurance now.
Yeah.
We're not going what Rost is, so everyone has to supply the city with the insurance.
I'll come to the office.
And just June, I put it on here for you, June 17th to the 23rd is the carnival's gonna be down. So we gotta find you another spot,
Okay.
like we did last year.
Yeah, like the election. Good. All right, I'm coming to the office and do the paperwork.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion approved.
Okay, there a second? Okay.
Oh, bathrooms, just make sure.
We got it back, we had it last year.
Yeah.
We had it every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Good luck.
Okay, thanks.
Joel Machado, New England Youth Tackle Football, request use of McManus Park,
Good
Keeney
evening,
Park.
everyone.
Bernard, how are you?
Hello.
Great. Thank you for having me here today. Just making our yearly request. Pretty much, Domingo. I made him dress up too, so.
Well, you have to dress up for
But
us.
you signed with a Yankee.
Yeah, we still, well, he's not, he's a business guy. First of all, let me say thank you for all you did for us last year. And allow me to say, you have no idea what you guys are being part of. What started as an organization for our kids in Lynn, we have gotten multiple outreach from all over New England to be part, to the point that now we have 6 other communities willing to train and follow the same program that we started here and come to Lynn and play. They're willing to drive so our kids won't have to play because they believe so much in our program. And we already have started a waiting list of other cities that are just waiting to get a spot, but there's only so much we can do. Mainly because we don't have that much space for everybody to play. There's only one football field and what we paint over there. We want to say thank you because you guys believed in us and give us the opportunity
How did the first year
to
go?
get started. We had 250 signups to include 45 girls that played. We got 45, we actually had one team of teenage girls that played against the boys and won just as many games against the boys. We got a grant from ESPN to allow them to play, so their registration was pretty much just $50 to help with insurance. And we probably will qualify for the same grant again this year. This year, we're expecting pretty much the same number, plus all of the other teams that are planning to join us and come play here as well. At one point, during one of the games, we had actually people from private schools looking at the 13 and 14-year-olds to see if they can take them onto education in their schools. And that to me was, wow. You know, what turned out to be a Friday night game, it became a community that came together every Friday to watch the kids play on the sidelines. That was another added benefit to our community that we did not expect it was going to be part of that. So what started as something that we were doing for the sport and for our youth became something that our community should really be proud of, how it unfolded. And you guys give us the opportunity to continue to that, so we want to say thank you on behalf of the whole league. Other than that, we are requesting the same parks with the addition of Berry Park, mainly because we're now concerned that we have so many games and not everybody will be able to play at the same time because we have grown so much. We do understand how things work now. We're very familiar, and just like last year, we still have the same attitude of being team players and helping with the schedule however we can. Other than that, we have added, we would like to somehow begin to contribute to the community so that we can help in any way, whether we can apply for grants or anything to help keep up the parks and maybe down the line get another football field because we only, right now, we're priced out of Manning still and playing at Tech, the two fields that we're able to paint there, even that becomes challenging if the conditions are not right for that soil. So if down the line there's anything that we can help partner up with any grants or anything like that, we'll be more than happy to do that also.
We appreciate it. I think the thing that impressed me last year is you were going to give the kids a solid foundation about safety and how to, with their equipment and stuff, and how to not use their head and stuff like that with all of the concussion talk going on
Yes, sir.
around.
And we were very successful at it. Tackling improved to the point that when we came to the regular season and we were coaching the kids, we spent way less time getting them, telling them what to do, advancing their game, rather than teaching them from the scratch how to tackle and how to do this and don't use your head. And this thing, these mechanics, they just became fundamentals to them, things that they do naturally without being told to do so. And that's how what we did in the spring made them. Now, since last year, we have met with other people from out of state that have pointed it out the direction football is going and the things that we should be adding. So we took a whole rule book and we changed it in a way that no other league here in the New England area plays. We got rules that people will be like, that doesn't make any sense to people in the area. But the reason why it makes sense to us is because we've seen these rules being applied outside on ways to protect the player from certain injuries. And we feel that it's our responsibility not only to protect our youth and teach them the sport the right way, but also it's our responsibility to make sure that they do move on to the fall season, the full season, and take those things with them and remain safe even when it's not with us. So, and that's why we take every step necessary to just change the conversation completely, even when people think, oh, you know, what are these guys doing?
Yeah.
So,
Lisa, is the extra space they need, is that available up at Barry?
Going to talk with Weston Papuana.
So,
So I'll talk with Amy Robinson. I know she's stepping down, but
yeah.
I haven't seen official notice that she's stepping down, but I'll check with her before we can get her.
Okay.
But we can work together
We'll work
like we've
something out.
always
yes,
done.
actually,
So-
Amy was of great support to us last year and this year too on getting things accomplished, on how things work. So I'm pretty sure that it'll be okay with her to do so.
So we can work something out. So are there any other questions from the board, or?
Yes, one more, just to remind you to, in case of rain,
Yes,
to play.
okay. So,
Well, I don't know if we told you that last year.
no, because it's football. We will, we actually, two things that we learned, it didn't rain the whole time. So we were lucky. And the other thing is with lighting. It was actually light enough outside to what, 8:30 p.m.?
We kept the kids between 5 p.m. and about 8:30. By the time they got home, they were
8:30,
exhausted, so we didn't
Yeah, and we didn't need any lighting because
Good.
It was light.
the timing just worked for us. So that we learned. But if you wish that we don't play during the rain, we will definitely then make that.
Well, the field takes a beating. What I would do is I would check with Lisa or check with the DPW office to see, because we've had, 2 days of rain. You don't want to get up, because you'll do more damage to that field in 2 hours, and, we just don't have the resources to repair it, so.
All right. Well, we're better organized this year.
Yeah.
And we have a little more manpower. So if it's your wish that we take on some of these tasks, we're willing to do so.
Yeah, I would just, check with the DPW office,
Okay.
because,
Yeah, we have a backup plan. If it's on game day, we do have a budget for many if we have to at last.
yeah.
Last time, yes.
And for practices, we will do walkthroughs and
Yeah.
video day or whatever.
You understand our position. We just don't want the
Yes,
field to be
absolutely.
damaged, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then pretty soon it won't be playable for you guys if
Yes,
you,
it's also our position because we don't want the kids, although it's football and it's supposed to be in any weather, we don't want the kids sliding.
Yeah.
When something that's supposed to be safe for them.
right.
We're making it more dangerous because now they're sliding on 2 inches of mud. We don't want that
Right.
position either.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? No. All in favor? Aye. Okay, good luck.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck.
Keep up-
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
We will, gonna make Nick proud.
Okay. Okay, Wendy Joseph, 9th Annual Community Celebration, requests the use of High Rock Tower from July 3rd, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Yes, hello everyone.
Hi.
Hello, Wendy.
And I sent an email even to Lisa.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone else got a chance to see it.
Yes, they are.
Basically, everything is good. The anomaly of 600 people seems to be on with all of the extra stuff that we had last year. We were back down to 300, which takes away a lot of the concerns. So in addition to not having as many concerns, we now have all of these things in place for safety. And I haven't heard back from Captain Reddy, but I'm going to reach out to him and see if he wants to do that walkabout annually and answer any questions.
Yep. So what, do you expect, 400 this year, maybe, 300, 400?
It really, let's say with the 300,
Yeah.
The parking at KIP made it much more tenable for everyone, so we certainly could have been able to deal with 400.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you had a pretty good plan last year, so,
What's the hours?
It's a 3 o'clock center. until the end of the fireworks, plus 1/2 hour for cleanup.
So by 11, you'll be done.
We better.
Lisa, everything,
No, we had no issues last year, and it's an annual event.
Yep.
Just make sure the bathrooms, and talk with the fire chief and Chris Reddy, so they have emergency plans like last year.
Absolutely.
So follow the same protocol.
okay. So you want to make a motion for that?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second?
Any further questions?
No?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
good luck.
Good luck.
Yes. What did you do for lights last year? Did you borrow those from?
No, we didn't. Sierra actually bought us lights.
Okay, so you're all set.
We are.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, number 7, that's Bob Tina, the Pink Angels, Rook. So we'll just make a motion to approve that. Somebody want to make a motion?
Motion approved.
Okay,
I'll second.
All in favor, aye. Number 8, Pedro Morales, North Shore Cougars Baseball, annual request for Keeney Park. Somebody want to make a motion for that?
Make
I'll
a
make a
motion.
motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Number 9, John Wang, the Food Project, request to share the farming and gardening proposal for High Rock Tower. How are you?
Good, how are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you,
Happy
too.
New Year.
Awesome. I think it's going to work.
So I'm Jen Coverdale. I'm the Urban Agriculture Manager at the Food Project. So I run the farm up behind the Ingalls School, and then also the Central Square Farmers Market and our other markets around the city. And then John is our regional director. So I have to apologize. I only have a couple
They have
of
them in the packet.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
I'll say not to use this. Great. So basically what we've been on the search for and discussing with the city is a plot of land that would be similar in use to our Monroe Street location. And that plot was about a quarter of an acre in size, and it was mixed use. So some of that area was for community gardeners that had their like 4x8 raised beds, came in under their own gardens, and then about 8,000 square feet of that was for our crop production. So we would work the land with our youth, and we would sell all of that produce at the farmers market and hunger relief, all our distribution streams in the city. So we're looking for a space that we should use that would be sort of similar in size, and also would be mixed use in that way. That would incorporate community gardeners, operating their own small plots, and then incorporate some growing space for us, just for crop production. And it's really nice to have those two things paired together. The farm space is really beautiful, definitely adds to the landscape, and we can provide logistical support for the community gardeners who are there. So that's sort of what we're on the lookout for.
Yeah. And so I started beginning having conversations with Mackenzie and Lisa and John, just like to explore like some possibilities, and actually looked at High Rock as a potential place like to look to. So it seemed like there could be like some synergy there in terms of creating more presence and more to deter like some of the activities that have been going over there, beautifying the space, supporting, and it matches like kind of like what Jen was talking about, the descriptions of like what we're looking for. It's also like within the same kind of like traffic that we go from like downtown Lynn to Ingalls when we do the elementary school and the farming there. And so we wanted to engage in the process or the possibility of High Rock as being a possible substitute, and just like talking to Lisa and John to help like inform like could that be a possibility. And it seems like that we wanted to present kind of like where we came together as a group to see where we could go from there.
And what you see, oh, sorry.
No, good.
What you see in your packet is just the roughest sketch, sort of a visualization of what it would look like if we were using that whole space, and clearly with the long-term plans for the park, like I know that we might not be able to occupy all of that. We were just creating a sketch of what it might look like to have a section that is just farm space, and then a section that's that mixed farm and community garden space.
Now, you had mentioned John. Who is John?
John Moberg.
Oh, John Moberg. Okay, so John, you're... I don't want to make any assumptions. So, John, you're familiar with this?
Yes.
Yeah.
And because you've been involved in you've seen these diagrams here? Or?
There's some edits.
Yep.
Has everybody seen everything that's in there?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, John's already given us some critiques and things that will definitely need to change.
Because I know the city has put a lot of money up there, and that's been our hesitancy to approve things before, is based on as long as we direct everybody on any park where they've been involved, to talk with them first. And, to get, now, we had approved somebody for sunflowers, was that Mary?
Mary, yep.
And she's involved in this too, or?
Yeah, yep, yep.
Yeah.
We're all in this together.
Well,
I'm sure you're aware, like we talked about too, like we'd be willing to plant seeds and help beautify some of that white space, perennials or annual flowers.
Yeah. I mean, for me, as long as community development is happy with what's going to go up there, then I don't have a problem with it, so. Yes, John, go ahead.
We really appreciate the work that the food project's doing in the city. And we looked at that and the side, if you look at the stone cottage on the street, from Essex Street, the right side is where it used to be a orchard. And it's an open space now. The original plan actually called for a parking lot in there, which was not approved in the end. But that's, I thought, a good place that they could use. And they also asked to use some of the space on the left side of the stone cottage. Not being in at work as much as I used to be, I only looked at the drawing today, but my critique was that they really filled the space, and there's a few things there. For instance, if we ever get a grant for the stone cottage, there was an old addition as you face the cottage from down the street, from below. There was an addition on the left side of the building where that the Hutchinsons had years ago, and we have pictures of that and dimensions of that, and we actually have a design that shows putting that back, and that's where a mechanical room with an elevator and accessible restrooms would plan to go. So we'd want to make sure we kept the garden area away from what that area would encompass.
Okay.
And there's also a dry well and a wet area down near the walkway, and we'd want to make sure that they didn't put, some of the planters and all in that area, because we need to make sure that functions, doesn't get blocked up. So, but other than that, and I just wanted to say that we've often talked about the upper area. And in my opinion, from having worked on the master plan and dealt with this for years, the upper area should be reserved for events, large events, places where people can go spread out on the grass. The views are phenomenal from up there. That's a very special place, in my opinion. And I think that it shouldn't be encumbered by some of the other things. That's why when we wanted to give the kids some play equipment, we pushed it off in the corners where it didn't really take away from, what's really the special area of that whole reservation. So, and John and the food project, agreed down around the stone cottage was a good place to try and resolve that. They also agreed, and maybe I'm reminding them, we have some shrubs in the middle of the large slope that runs down towards Essex Street. And those were put there when we expanded the park because we didn't want kids sledding there because of the person that died there years ago.
Yes, yep.
Sometimes the people that were maintaining that looked at that and thought that they were weeds and didn't think they were the type of plants that we wanted to get a little larger and to protect the area. But I think that it would be great if they could help us grow that back and get that back in full flower again.
Can you guys handle that?
It would be,
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
No, they can get it.
we can definitely plant the aforementioned.
I've known John for a while. When he gives me that look, it's something that needs to be done, so.
We can do it. We'll do it together.
Yeah. So I guess from the perspective of this board, I mean, I support it in concept. I'd like to see a final drawing of where it's actually going to go with community development's approval that this is what they want to see. And, so I think if the board agrees, we can give them the go-ahead, and we just want to see a final plan and with community development's blessing on it. How's that sound? Perfect. Somebody want to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Good luck, John, keep an eye on him, all right? We're dependent on you. Okay, I think that's it, there's nothing else here, right? Okay, motion to adjourn?
I have a motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we stand adjourned.
Aye.